Hey guys, what is going on? My name is Fluffy Ninja, and this is kind of a weird video. I haven't really made videos like this. I've watched hundreds of videos like this. Mine's probably going to go a little bit long, but this is something that I feel like I need to speak on. Maybe another voice needs to hammer it home. I'm not saying my voice is going to be that voice, but hopefully it'll inspire a couple of you to take what I have to heart, and I don't know, maybe just hopefully it'll inspire one or two of you. That's what I'm hoping for. So this video is titled "Why I Bought an AR." So the title will be, it's out there. That's what the title is going to be. And I wrote this script, I guess, like maybe a couple weeks ago, honestly. It's just kind of an outline punch, at least. I wrote it right after the 4th of July. I guess we should start a little bit before that. So I applied for my FOID back in 2018. Just because I kind of knew what was coming. Bought an AR pistol in 22. Not long after that, then I bought a handgun from Smith & Wesson. Both of them actually were from Smith & Wesson. The 22 AR pistol was a Smith & Wesson. I actually have it right here. M&P 1522. That's what it was. And then I bought a handgun because I was like, you know what? I want to get concealed carry, stuff like that. So I bought the Smith & Wesson SDVE in 9mm, because 9mm most common cartridge, I think, on the planet, aside from maybe 5.56, 7.62. I have always loved weapons, guns, swords, cannons, whatever. When I was a lot younger, in this lifetime, I got the chance to travel the country with a very good friend of ours, who has since passed. But he took us to Pennsylvania. We went on a few trips before that, but I remember he took us to Pennsylvania and took us to Gettysburg. And as a young kid, I got to walk the battlefields, see the walls, see where stands were made, climb Devil's Tower, Little Round Top, Big Round Top, the field where they did Pickett's Charge, everything like that. I was super into war history, and that's really what kind of awakened what would I think later be a career choice, but then was very discouraged from teachers and students and guidance counselors who told me that I was stupid to try and go and be a history teacher. That's what my dream was when I was younger. And then I changed to YouTuber. We see how that went. Streamer. We see how that failed. But history teacher was something that I always wanted to be, and I will. There's two big regrets that I will have for the rest of my life. One is never joining the military. Absolutely, biggest regret of my life. And two, not being a history teacher. There's still time for the history teacher thing, but I'm almost 30, getting old. Anyway, that's, got into war history, got into learning about guns and stuff like that. But I didn't like firearms. Didn't like that's a super big classification for me. Is guns are something that you can learn about. Firearms are what you have to defend yourself, what you go to the range with, what you protect your family with, stuff like that. That for some reason that's always been a massive division in my mind. I have no idea why. But I was at the 4th of July parade in Beecher, Illinois, and of course, concealed carry, stuff like that. I have my Glock 43X with my shield arms, 15 round hollow point mag in it. Always. It's always going to be the first mag in there. Of course, I have my holster, conceal it on my right hip. I'm a pretty big guy, so it covers fairly well. Got rid of my SD9, bought a Glock 43X because it was exactly what I was looking for, I think. But I had my concealed carry with me. Now, my mom was a teacher for 30 plus years. My oldest sister, who just had a birthday actually, she has 2 kids that I love to death. My nephew can sometimes be a pain in the ass. Love him regardless. My niece, I would rip you in half for my niece. No questions asked. With my bare hands. But I love my family. Especially my niece and my nephew. But I had my concealed carry with me. We're sitting in the car because it's raining, and I'm sitting in the back seat with my second sister, who has a master's degree in psychology. I will say that every time that I talk about her. She has a master's degree in psychology. She's one of the smartest people that I know. But I was like cramped in the back seat. My mom was like, "Well, do you want me to move the front seat?" I was like, "No, I'll just move to the front seat." But because I was cramped, like my gun was kind of digging into my love handles, so I took my gun out, just, with the holster still on and everything, so it was still completely safe. Took the holster out of my pants, set it on the center console between the driver and the passenger seat. And my sister, Mindy, who knows that I conceal carry, she knows that I have firearms, she knows that I've gotten very deep into this world. Well, she thinks. I've barely scratched the surface. There's a lot of training and stuff that I need. I put it on the center console. She grabbed it, put it down on the lower section, and my sister Sarah went, "What was that?" And Mindy knew what it was immediately because my brother-in-law carries. Absolutely. He told me about how he carries the other day, and he can't do it on the side because that's where his phone clips in. He's very typical white suburban dad of like having the phone clip on his hip, and oh man, and he has to carry it like in his ass crack, which I just thought was fucking hilarious. But she knew what it was. She goes, "Oh, it's TJ's gun," and she just set it down in between us. And I had gotten out of the car at that point, gotten in the front seat, and she asked why I had it. It was 4th of July in the afternoon. This was just after the Highland shooting, which I live currently now maybe 40 minutes away from with traffic. Somebody had used a firearm to kill multiple people or to injure multiple people in Highland Park during 4th of July. I believe they were apprehended. So, yeah, they were, because my coworker actually lives in that area. He learned about it immediately. I think he was actually at the parade. He was down the road, but he heard the gunshots. He was close enough that he heard the gunshots that he basically heard what happened. Um, so I was like, well, you know, with what just happened in Highland today, with what just happened in Uvalde the other week, basically, it was maybe 2 weeks after that incident. Um, you know, is after, you know, all these shootings that have happened in our country. Um, Again, I love my niece and my nephew. If I get the phone call, I'm going. I'm not going to be one of the people that stood around of all day waiting. I refuse. And again, I've never been in the military. I've never been in that situation, so I might be completely full of shit. But right now, my instinct, my gut tells me that I would go at least, and I would be there. Because if it happened in my nieces and nephew's school, because they're in the same school, and my sister works in the front office of that school, I would have to be there. So that's what I told her. You know, not only that, but you know, the walk from where we sit for the parade to the like, I don't know what to call it. It's not a circus. It's the carnival. The carnival. You know, the walk's not that far, but you know, my brother-in-law and my sister walked down there with the kids. My sister and I followed. She had no idea that I had my gun on my hip at that time. Literally the entire walk down there. She had no idea. I moved her out of. I remember walking down the road. She's on the inside. I'm on the outside. Which, guys, that's how you should do it. If you're walking anywhere with your lady, have her away from the roadside. Granted, we're walking on the road, but as we turn the corner, she kind of shifts and gets on the outside of me. And as we're walking past, like we're walking up to the train tracks, and there's this family on the right, and I just very slowly tap her shoulder, move her over, and then she's on that side. And the woman was like, "There you go, that's a gentleman." And her and I were both like, she's like, "I'm his sister. She's my sister. Like, it's my family. It's what I'm gonna do to protect them." Sorry, my phone just keeps closing. But so we're back in the car. It's raining. Parade's still hasn't started. We're just sitting there waiting. And we get into a discussion about it. Now, my sister Sarah and I have never agreed on anything ever. Again, she was like 4.6 GPA in high school. I graduated because of a box of tissues. Like, we could not be more different. We just couldn't be. But she asked if I had an assault rifle. Those are the words out of her mouth. Assault rifle. Has a master's degree in psychology. And I had literally June 29th had ordered it. That's when I got paid, and I had extra money set aside. Ordered it that day, immediately. I said, yeah, it's on the way, but it's not assault rifle. You know, assault is a verb. Master's degree in psychology, and works in a school district. I was like, you know, assault is a verb. You know, a weapon can't commit an action of assault. AR, and I wasn't trying to be pretentious, wasn't trying to be a dick about it, was just trying to educate, because that's what gun owners need to do, is educate, not belittle, not shit talk people, not say they're an idiot, not say, and I've seen a lot of this on like Colleen Noir's videos, and a lot of the other gun tubers, I guess, that I watch, is they kind of have this attitude of like, this person's an idiot. That may be, absolutely 100%, they probably are. But nobody ever watches the first punch get thrown. They only see the retaliation. So if we call them idiots, if we call them unintelligent, that doesn't help anything. But if we call them misinformed, uninformed, not regular people that see this side, the firearms side, not people that participate, then we need to educate them. We need to let them know where they're wrong, and then give them the information that they misquoted, that they missaid, etc. So I was like, AR actually stands for Armalite, the Armalite rifle. That's the company that started making the AR-15 like back in the 50s, 60s, I think. It was right before Vietnam. Like, that's when the AR started, and then the M16 came after that. And she asked why I was getting it. Valid question. Absolutely. If somebody asks you why you need a gun, I know Colian literally just did a video on this. Somebody asks you why you need a gun, explain it to them. Inform them. Let them know why maybe their logic and their thinking is flawed, and let them know. And I told her, I said, it's in case anyone tries to take away my rights or attack my family. I got Kristen, the 2 cats here. We're not a big family, but we're a family. Literally today, I was off, sitting out on the porch. 2 cops walk up. I'm like, can I help you? And they're looking, and there's security cameras, and they're like, do you know who owns these security cameras? I'm like, yeah, it's these people. And they're like, okay, we'll reach out to them. Did you see anything the other night? And I had. Apparently somebody tried to break into the car in the lot next door last night. I watched them run away. Cop came around the corner a few minutes later, and I was like, hey, and he just ignored me and walked back to the scene of whatever happened. And I watched the dude run away, and he just ignored me. So I was like, oh, all right. So I let them know today what I had seen. Because apparently that same guy tried to break into the same car again today. Today being Saturday, even though I'm recording this on Sunday. So, but yeah, that's why I own the firearms that I do. That's why I bought an AR. And she very pointedly, master's degree in psychology, said no one is going to take away my rights. No one's trying to take away your rights. And I went, okay, what just happened in the Supreme Court where Roe v. Wade got overturned? Granted, I'm not for killing babies. I know for a fact that I lost a child due to an ex-girlfriend going to get an abortion without telling me. I found out a while later. So I'm completely against killing babies. But I'm also for the complete right of it's your body. You should be able to choose with what you want to do with it. I think maybe the boyfriend, husband, etc. should be heard out. Maybe not have a say, but be heard out, at least. The overturning of Roe v. Wade apparently affected a lot of women. Really what it did is it gave the right to give its constituents to have an abortion. Like, it gave that back to the state. So if you would like to have an abortion in your state, you need to vote for somebody in your state that is willing to put that forward for the state. And I'm choosing my words very carefully because that's what a lot of Democrats are going to run on. Wouldn't say they're the best choice. That's at least my point. But, you know, this just happened. And everybody's posting on Facebook, standing around with signs. Oh, it's a tragic loss for women. It's, you know, it's set women back, I think 100 years is what I saw at one point. A lot of daytime talk show hosts giving their 2 cents, but not going to any of the hearings or areas or showing support other than it's tragic. It's the worst thing to happen to women since men. I mean, sure. But that's what they'll do. But it's not what built this country, was standing around with signs and posting on Facebook. And no, this country was built and born out of war, out of struggle, out of strife. Thoughts and prayers didn't count for shit back then. I'm gonna be honest, they don't really count for shit now. But, you know, post away, I guess. So, started that with they're gonna, you know, somebody is probably going to try to take away our rights. Again, master's degree in psychology. They're not going to take away your rights. They've been trying to come after the Second Amendment for like 30 plus years, I think. Just, you know, the assault weapons ban in the 70s or 80s. I don't actually remember. Which again, hey, maybe we shouldn't have fully automatic rifles, but if that's what the military has, the point of the Second Amendment is to protect the first of all. And the well-regulated militia is not, it meant muskets, it meant cannons. Like, repeating firearms existed back then. Like, the crank machine guns, the multi-shot pistols, multi-shot rifles, that all existed back then. France was cranking out some fucking bonkers shit. But, you know, now we have red flag laws that are coming, that if you suspect your neighbor might be a danger to themselves or others, call a hotline. Police will come by, confiscate all their guns, throw them in a loony bin until they can afford a lawyer, or until, you know, they can articulate that they're not crazy or not a danger to themselves or others, which is not how the legal system works, but that's how these red flag laws are working. And now there's a new assault weapons ban, which wants to ban any gun that looks tactical or just black, I guess, which is super racist, and the fact that nobody's brought that up appalls me. Granted, like, I say that as a joke, but try the angle, see what happens. Now we're 23 minutes in, at least. Now we're gonna get into, so bought the AR, right? I have a Smith & Wesson M&P 22 pistol. A friend of mine is borrowing it for right now due to security reasons at their house, for their wife, for their family. Don't worry about it. I have my Glock 43X, which I conceal carry, which I was almost fired for because my safety, the safety of the employees that work under me, the safety of the building that we work in, even though I'm just an employee and, hey, yeah, take the cash out of the register, I don't give a shit, they've got insurance. That doesn't fly with me. My mom works at a greenhouse during the summer, and somebody came up to her and said, I want the money in the register. And my mom, who's a very imposing woman, looked them dead in the face and said no. And teacher for 30 years, so she said it with fucking authority. And they went away. Cops were called. They found him, I don't know, like 2 hours later. My mom identified him and was like, yep, that's the guy that tried to rob me. My mom does not give a fuck about your struggles. Go get a fucking job. That is her mentality. So I've got the Glock 43X. I do have the AR15 pistol, which not completely kitted out yet, but it's getting there. Ammo. I do need to order ammo. But a friend of mine works at a gun store, so he's going to give me a deal. That's for this next part that we're going to go over. I also have my Canik TP9 SFX, which is like a competition pistol, but I got it for the red dot. Like it, shoots okay. Made a deal with a friend. They got me this, which I think I've showed off on a video before. The Mossberg Maverick Model 88. Still need to get a shorter barrel for it. The one that I got was not the correct one. That sucks. They had it labeled as the wrong caliber. So that's got like 3-shot capacity, or 3+1. Made another deal with a friend, and picked up this mag-fed pump-action shotgun. Those are for home defense. Mag-fed pump-action shotgun sits literally 6 feet away from me, I think, in bed. The Canik sits in the bedside table. Glock is usually in my car or also on the bedside table. Other shotguns in here. ARs in the bag in the other room. That's what I'm working with right now, at least. And here's why. This is what I see happening. This is what's going to happen. I'm not saying, oh, I'm omnipotent or whatever. This is what's going to happen. Near the end of summer, beginning of fall, these skyrocketing inflation, gas prices, food prices are just gonna elevate to the next fucking ethereal plane. And then, when everybody is just tapped out, nobody has any money left, people are gonna start losing houses, start losing kids, start like just losing lives, basically losing their livelihood, because inflation and gas are just, and food prices are just destroying their bank accounts. There's going to be a school shooting, or there's going to be a race-based shooting. One of the two. And by that I mean white person shoots a black man, or white person shoots a black person, something like that. White man shoots a black man shoots a white man. There's going to be race involved somehow. Or at least that's how the media is going to spin it to you. That there's been a race-based shooting. That a racist cop shot an unarmed black man because racism. Then there's going to be protests. A lot of protests. Like what we saw in Oregon. Like what we saw in California. What we saw pretty much everywhere but Texas, because Texas doesn't give a shit. If you try to burn down their building, they're going to shoot you. Something like what happened with Rittenhouse is probably going to happen again. People are going to lose their minds again. Go nuts. Right, and all this violence, right? It's all going to be caught on social media. Everybody's going to have their phones out, you know. Look what the cop's doing to that guy. Look what that guy's doing to that guy. Look what the cop's doing to that guy. It's going to be everywhere. It's going to be all over social media, without a fucking doubt. And a lot of it, I had this conversation with the kid at work. He doesn't think so. I don't think so either. I think it's a long shot, but it's possible that every time there's going to be a shooting, like, government's going to just throw cops under the fucking bus. Oh, you know, police officers shouldn't act that way. Police officers shouldn't, you know, hit protesters with sticks and their riot shields. They shouldn't be like a militarized police force because somebody threw a bottle at them. We don't know what the fuck that bottle contains, so yeah, we beat the shit out of them, put them in handcuffs, and then we process them. And government officials are just gonna throw a fucking book at them. It's not gonna be the right book, but it's gonna be a book. And I think police officers are just gonna fucking lose it. They're gonna lose their fucking minds. They're gonna be like, you know what? Go to a job every day where if I do something that might be out of line, I get crucified in the media, I get thrown under the bus by my superiors, government officials say that I'm a terrible cop and that I'm part of the problem. Obviously, I'm racist because I did something to someone who was breaking the law, and I did my job, but it had to be race motivated. I'm done. I'm over this. And then blue flu, which means they just walk out. They don't give a shit anymore. They just quit. They're done. Mass quittings. Just, we're done. Or, and this is the more unlikely thing, they turn around. Right? There's only so long that you can hold the dog at the chain, beating it, calling it a piece of shit, before it turns around and bites the shit out of you. And that might be what happens. Again, long shot. A lot of police officers have a sense of duty, righteousness. You know, they honor the chain of command, stuff like that. So they might not, but it's definitely a possibility. If you went to work every day and you got told how much of a piece of shit you were by a random stranger walking by that you've never met before, and then you went back to your office and your boss called you and was like, you're a fucking piece of shit because this guy recorded you on your phone, or recorded you on his phone, and they sent it to us, and you're a piece of shit. And then you go home, and, you know, your loved one's just like, God, you're a piece of shit for doing this job. Don't you think eventually that mental strain would just make you fucking kill anybody in front of you? Just food for thought. So that's going to happen. Government officials are going to come on the air. They're going to start sending out messages, posts, tweets, whatever the fuck. And they say, hey, you know what? Because of what happened with the police force, because of what happened with them walking away or them turning violent against us, no one is going to be allowed to purchase a firearm right now. We're putting a hold on it. We're putting a hold on your right to purchase a firearm. Just a hold for like a month, maybe 3 months, just until we get this all figured out. That's great. So because somebody else did something fucking retarded, you all of a sudden can't buy the means to defend yourself. Because somebody else did something, you get the punishment. Doesn't really sound fair, does it? Welcome to being a gun owner. So that's going to happen. And a lot of people, the loud minority is going to speak for everyone and say, okay, that sounds fine. Well, yeah, that sounds great. California is going to fucking implode if we don't blow it up and into the ocean. But they're going to be cheers and liberals falling to their knees screaming happy day or whatever the fuck. That's great for, you know, government, I guess, but criminals who don't follow laws are still going to be able to get firearms, still going to be able to get guns from wherever. Cartels smuggling over fucking fully automatic AKs by the truckload. Allegedly, but more than likely they are. There's going to be more shootings, more violence, more break-ins, more petty crime that could have just been a robbery, but it's going to end with somebody dead because, oh, you don't have a gun? You saw my face? Bye. By the way, I'm going to take your phone, your wallet, your keys, everything. I'm going to run you for your phones, too. So, more shootings, more violence. And then the media is going to start covering it up. A lot. Oh, no, these shootings, no, they weren't done by criminals. They were done by people that didn't listen. So criminals, you know, and then normal everyday people like you and I are going to try that same route because, hey man, like this is not fair. Granted, life's unfair. Criminals are getting guns and I can't buy one because the government said so when very clearly it's not stopping any of these criminals. Too bad. You know, there's going to be probably 2A rallies and gun companies are going to come out in support of like, hey, like you're fucking us right now and we pay, you know, half of fucking Congress to get bills passed so that way we can sell certain guns or that way we can keep selling guns or that way we can make different kinds of guns. Who the fuck knows? And, you know, we'll be out there protesting, legally carrying firearms. You know, hell no, 2A won't go, whatever the fuck. And then that's when censorship is going to kick in. Oh, there was a small gathering in support of, you know, the Second Amendment, and it's going to show like the first, like what they did to the Trump inaugural address, whatever the fuck, where they just showed like the little people on the lawn and didn't show the massive fucking group of people behind them. Like that's what's going to happen. They're going to be like, oh no, it's just, you know, 100 protesters, but there's going to be thousands. Because we've been silent for a while. We've been quiet. Because we're not the problem in the country. But, you know, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's, hey, yeah, we're going to go to this, you know, pro 2A rally. You can't say that. You can't say pro 2A. You can't say pro gun. We're gonna ban that. You're gonna get canceled for that. And the people with the firearms are gonna get put into a corner like a fucking child, saying, "Well, this is your fault. You did this. There's no reason for you to own an AR-15 to go hunting. You think you're gonna, you know, defend your family against the police that are coming to raid your house because we told them to? Are you fucking insane? How dare you? How dare you stand up to us? How dare you think that you can stand up to us? You're arrested and canceled. Get fucked." And then there's going to be, we've seen it before. Tell on your neighbors. Report your neighbors. Find the Gestapo and tell your neighbors, or tell on your neighbors. Who knows? They could be hoarding guns. Tell on your neighbors. You know what? If we find a gun in their house, give you a couple $100 because you led us to that. Thank you. Before that happens, though, they're going to do a gun buyback program. Hey, you know what? Nobody can own guns right now. We're going to do a gun buyback program. $500 to $1,000 a piece. That doesn't work. It's in $15 to $2,000. That doesn't work. All right. We're not paying anymore. We're going to come get your fucking guns. You're going to go down the registry, because all of us have to register our firearms. Well, some of them. You're going to go down that list. This person, this address. This is how many. Go get them. They're going to come get them. And then there's going to be more protests because you just took away my Second Amendment. You just took away my right. You just took away my property. You took away my firearm. Use your fucking bullshit red flag laws. You paid my neighbor Barry $600 to tell on me like we're in fucking kindergarten. And then more protests, violence, a lot more violence, a lot of violence. Like an Expendables movie level violence. And there's just going to be blood everywhere because finally the government's going to be like, oh, you know what? Let's bring in the National Guard. Because that worked really well in Oregon. And people that have had their ability to defend themselves taken away are just going to be slaughtered in the streets. Just slaughtered. What are you going to do? Took away your right, took away your gun. Come at us with your fucking stick. We'll run you over with a tank. This isn't China where you get to prove a fucking point to the world. We control what gets out to the world. You're not proving shit. And it's like a car wreck that you can't stop watching. Again, this is what I know is going to happen. Not all of this at the end of the year, but it's going to kick off fall. Maybe late fall, early winter. It's going to be some kind of something that just ignites the powder keg. Doesn't matter how many good examples we have either. Like the kid in the Greenwood Mall stopping a mass shooter with an AR. He had an AR15, I think. I actually don't. No, I didn't read that far into the story. All I read and listened to was this good guy with a gun stopped a bad guy with a gun and fucked that guy. Hit him from 40 yards with 8 out of 10 shots. Greenwood, Indiana. It's 3 hours away from my house. It's getting closer to home, folks. It's getting a lot closer. It's not just in Texas, California, Oregon, New York, Maine. It's getting close to home. I know for some of you that is close to home. But it's getting closer. But that guy in Indiana stopped him due to a bill that was passed on July 1st called constitutional carry. This has been explained in a fuckload of videos. And there's still people that think he broke the law bringing that gun into the mall because he didn't have a concealed carry permit. Doesn't matter. Constitutional carry protects him. There's a constitutional right that as long as you are a legal owner of a firearm, as a citizen of Indiana, you can conceal carry it. Get fucked, idiot. All these, again, there's people on the news, and I realized I called them an idiot, but called the guy that tried to do the shooting an idiot. Let's go with that, because everybody on the news, it's illegally. No, constitutional carry passed July 1st. I think 17 days before that happened in Greenwood. Again, the only people that are going to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun that's not a fucking coward like the police officers in Uvalde, Texas. Do you know why they waited so long? Police officers have no reason to put their lives in danger for yours. It's a very common myth that I think everybody believes is that, well, if I call the police, they're going to come and save me no matter what. They don't give a shit. They don't want to get shot. Think they give a fuck about you? No, they want to make it home to their family. They want to cash that paycheck on Friday, pay their bills. They don't give a shit about you. Government doesn't give a shit about you. The only reason the government needs you is for votes. To make sure they stay in power, to make sure they keep getting paid from both sides. They say one thing that pisses off one group, that's fine. They collected their check from the side that told them to say it. And they flip-flop back and forth, making a fuckload of money off you idiots. It's just kind of how it is. The government doesn't need you. They're in power, they're making money, they could give a fuck. There's some good ones, maybe. But most of them are career politicians that haven't done a single fucking real day's work in their life. And they just want to collect money. Joe Biden, perfect example. He's been in Washington for 40 fucking years. As soon as he gets to be president. Oh, this is what we're going to do. Where the fuck was this plan 30 years ago, Joe? I'm not saying Trump was better. We were paying less for gas. So if you see those stickers on the gas pumps, leave them on there. Put tape over them. Spray them with a clear coat. Fuck it. Who cares? I think people are starting to wake up. A lot of people are. There was a video of, some like teenagers or, mid-20s maybe, group of black gangbangers. At least that's what was titled the video. And they were like, oh, what'd you think about Trump? And they were like, fuck, I missed $2 a gallon for gas. Joe Biden fucked everything up. So, people are waking up. People that you don't think are informed are pretty goddamn informed now. Internet's fucking everywhere. Everybody can access these stories now. So I realize it's a long-ass video. If you stayed the entire time, thank you. Think about what I've said. Consider, making sure that you can protect yourself and your family. And, yeah. I'll catch you in the next one. Later.